that's what's up. So everybody, welcome in. We appreciate you all for taking out your Fridays or wherever you at, taking out the time to come in and join us this week. That's my boy Legendary right there. I'm Mike G. We are the team, and we got our two co-producers in the background, handling things in the background for us, Lee and Eyes. They're making sure we keep everything together. You see us on the screen, but they make sure we come ahead and do our thing, though. So we appreciate them a lot. Show them a little love if you can. But we want to thank y'all for coming in. Like I said, this week we're going to be talking about what values are non-negotiable for you in relationships and friendships. And then the second topic is going to be the expectations of an online friendship and relationship. Those are two things we'll be jumping into first. Close to the end of it, we'll open the comments up for questions during the event. Normally it's just Legendary and I, we just talking, going back and forth. But if you put a comment in there, a question, we'll try to catch it and get to it. But if not, come back at the end with the same question and we'll get an answer for you. Go ahead, brother. You got anything?
No, I just want to, say good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all, wherever you at, Just like the big bro said. On top of that, make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel, all right? If you don't know where it is, just click the link in my bio, click the link in Big Bro bio, go to the YouTube channel. We officially at 51 subscribers. So, keep adding in, keep adding up, and then, just make sure you turn those post notifications on and that bell. We'll go ahead and get it in for the one time,
We're hoping to go January. We're hoping to go to that exclusively. We're trying to get that exclusively for that and make sure that we and it's going to give us a lot more freedom to do the things that we want to do a little bit better. We do it as best we can here on TikTok. We know we got a lot of restrictions and things, but there's some things we just want to cut loose about sometimes. And unfortunately, we can't do that all the time on here. But we're going to always do our best. Like I said, we appreciate y'all taking the time out to come in here. So let's just jump into it. So Legendary, overall, on that, just the basic topic of what values are non-negotiable for you in a relationship and friendships. Just what do you think about that topic in general before we jump into specifics?
All right, so values to me is just genuinely like opinions that a person holds to the highest regard. So in a sense, something that I value in that type of aspect is honesty. Obviously we know the number one thing outside of being led by God is communication. So when you're in a relationship, not necessarily meaning like an actual relationship as in like you get to that point to where you want to marry someone, but any type of relationship, work relationship, friend relationship, anything of that sort, like you're gonna need obviously the basic of communication. And then for me though, it's just being honest. A lot of times we try to paint ourselves to essentially just be who we not. And I say this all the time, you can only pretend for so long. So that's something that me personally that I hold as far as like a value. When it comes to honesty, I just feel like it's simple. But a lot of people make it complicated because they try to, be this and be that. It's just easy to just genuinely just be yourself and just not pretend. But yeah, when it comes to values, that's just, the main one that I hold to the highest regard in that sense.
I agree with that 100%. Mine, y'all know my vice. I'm all about that trust thing. That's non-negotiable. You only get one chance with the trust thing, and then when you break that, I mean, we good. I ain't gonna be mad. You just show me your hand, so I'm okay. I'll play my cards and go along with your hand. But the trust thing, go along with honesty, basically. But the trust thing is big for me. If you don't have no trust, then what do we really have? What kind of relationship can we have if I don't have no trust in you? So mine is really just in general for me. That means being able to trust the person that's sitting across from me or that I'm talking to or whatever. Even on here, a lot of people, they come on here and they're not themselves, and you can see right through that. So I prefer, like Legendary and I, from day one, we've been straight up honest with each other. Whatever we had, our opinions. But the one thing that we always did, we respected each other. We always going to have people that have a different opinion than us, but we respected each other's opinion. And when we disagreed, that was okay. We came to a common ground, and sometimes you have to say agree to disagree because we're two individuals. But I'm all about that trusting, and that's where I stand on it. And like I said, if somebody breaks it, then it's a done deal. I don't have time for second and third chances when it comes to trust.
Okay. Yeah. When it comes to an ethic standpoint, so obviously we know that come from or the most part, just your environment from society, how you was raised. An example, I was raised in a Christian household, so in a sense, just we kind of have those basic routines, those basic things that you learn from a young age, and you essentially continue that training, continue that belief all the way up until adulthood, and then etc. So one of the main ones in my aspect would be my religion. When it comes to my religion, I'm not the one to push it on to people. And I know a lot of people, I'm gonna kind of get off topic a little bit, but I'm gonna bring it back. I know a lot of people just in a sense feel like, if the other person or who they're talking to, if they don't have the same religion, the same belief, then there's no way that they can't, be together. Me personally, I'm very open minded in that aspect, and I know a lot of people say, well, the Bible says for you to be equally yoked, but at the same time, this is just my genuine belief. Like, I just don't believe that my God is going to send someone down below because they have or they believe in a different, not necessarily religion. Because in my own aspect, I just feel like every religion has a higher power. And for me, being a Christian, my higher power is God, Jesus, the Holy Ghost. But what that entails for me though is just more so of like, I won't, in a sense, degrade or put someone out because they believe in Judaism or if they Catholic or etc. And I know to a lot of extent that's different for most people because they say that the Bible say to be equally yoked. For me, when it comes to equally yoked, it don't necessarily mean religion in that aspect, even though we like to bring it to that. Just saying, for me personally, it just means like, wherever I struggle at, my partner in a sense is gonna be strong, which is equal. So her downfalls, her etc. is gonna be my strengths, and then vice versa. But yeah.
I like that. I like that take because I'm a little bit seasoned, so I've been around the sun a few times. But what I've noticed and what kind of I was raised in like you, I was raised in the church, right? But what turned me off about it was I saw a lot of churches when it came to that, and this is all tying into the friendship thing. So don't get we're gonna bring it back. It's not all about the religion, but it is. Religion is important to us. A lot of things we do is based on religion. Well, everything we do is based on religion. Not a lot of it. Everything we do is based on religion. But what I'm trying to say is that to be like Legendary said, equally yoked is also understanding that everyone is not on the same level. And then we can't turn our backs on those people because I don't know one person in the Bible that was perfect, that God did not do things for that person and use them people to do great things for the masses. So how can we as human beings say we're going to turn our backs on people when even Jesus Christ didn't do it when he was here on earth, walking around as a man, so I do believe in that wholeheartedly that a lot of times people that are religious, they turn people off becoming a religion because they think they're better than they are. And we're not better than no one. Matter of fact, we're supposed to be even better than the people out in the street. But a lot of times we're worse than the people because we're doing things that are contradictory to what Jesus did when he was here serving. So we got to remember that. So for me, a friend to me, non-negotiable for me is someone as a friend that won't hold me accountable. Like I already know right now that between Legendary and I, although we're in two separate spaces, if I was doing something that was contradictory to me being healthy, me being mindful of my health, my mind, my mental, I know he would say something to me. He would say something to me in love, So I would not want to be doing this with someone that wouldn't hold me accountable for my actions, And I respect that. I'd rather him do that than see me go down a rabbit hole or a pitfall and fail, So I want him to hold me accountable because that's what kind of relationship we have now. Since we met, we didn't come out, we didn't say that to each other. It's just a natural thing that's occurred. So our friendship did develop through social media because that's the only time we had never met in person. But I know I can count on him if I'm doing something like, for instance, he doesn't drink, I drink. If I'm having a little bit too much to drink and I come over here and, I've been drinking before I came over here, he'll probably shut this whole thing and I'll say, hey, look, man, we can't do that, So he'll hold me accountable though. So that's very important to me.
Yeah, so just to add on to that, when it comes to that friendship aspect, obviously, treat people the way that you want to be treated, right? Just like you said, if you're doing something that I feel like is against the morals and ethics of what it is that we stand for as men today, definitely gonna say something, right? And if that activity or that behavior can consistently, produce itself, then there's gonna be a grown discussion, and then obviously we know. Listen, if we can't come to some type of compromise in that aspect, hey, we'll be done in that situation. But yeah, that golden rule, just to treat people the way that you want to be treated. When it comes to the friendship aspect, they have to understand him, right? And then to add on to that is taking constructive criticism or feedback. Like, like, hey, if I tell you something and it's coming from a place of genuine love and support and me wanting to see you, like, there's no reason for you as my friend to take that and immediately be defensive or immediately just, put it down and say, oh, you just being selfish or you just looking at it from your point of view and etc. Maybe there are just things that I see that you don't see at this present moment that I'm noticing to where if you consistently, have these behaviors or have that aspect, you're gonna go down a road that you can't return from. And a lot of times, that's what I say this all the time. That pride and that ego. A lot of times we let our pride and our ego, come into play when we genuinely sit. We shouldn't, because for the most part, our friends and people of that nature, like, they just want, what's best for you. So yeah, that's what I got about it.
You know, I want your opinion about this, and I'll get my opinion about it. What do you think about watching how people treat other people? That's a deal breaker for me as well. Because a lot of times I think, and I'll let you talk on it, but a lot of times I think people, they'll treat you a certain way, but then you see how they treat others, then it's a little different. But I'll let you go ahead and speak on it.
Yeah, yeah. For the most part, this is why I genuinely believe in just authentically being yourself, just genuinely being yourself. Because again, like, you can only pretend to be someone else for so long. Some of you might get away with it for a day, maybe it's a week, maybe it's a month, maybe it's a year, maybe it's not. But eventually, like, your true self is gonna come out. When you say specific things, but your actions do something different. For the most part, when it comes to me, I'm gonna believe your action. If I see how you treat me and how you talk to me and how you handle me, etc., while we in public, etc., and then I see, how you treat other people. So, for an example, I know how you would normally talk to me if I wanted to order food, if I wanted to eat, or etc. But if I see you disrespecting a waiter or waitress, you know what I'm saying, just because they doing their job, or even though they don't cook, but something's wrong, and then you just immediately go off and you treat them differently, or you treat them like they lower than you, then I might have a problem with it. I'm like, hey, listen, like, that didn't have to occur, So when it comes to that, it's just like, listen, just genuinely be yourself. If you're gonna be an a-hole the whole time, then okay, I know exactly what I'm getting. There's no, secrets, etc. But if you're trying to pretend that you just all this, holy and almighty, and then a couple of days or the weekend show around and you have a different face on, then yeah, that's definitely gonna be a problem.
Yeah, I like that because that's how I gauge our, especially on here. That's how I gauge relationships. That's for me. A lot of times, before I go into a new room, I sit on the outside and look in for a minute to see how things are going. Or if I even join in, I don't say a whole lot. I just listen to what's going on, because you don't meet a lot of people on here, but you meet a lot of people. Well, you don't meet a lot of people on here in person, but you meet a lot of people on here though. So I just watch how they treat other people in other rooms, or if I'm just chilling out in the room, I just watch how they treat people, because I live by it. It's always one finger pointing at you, but one day them other three gonna be coming back at somebody else. So I live by that, and I watch that. Now, I did the same thing with Legendary. I didn't say a whole lot when I went in there. I was quiet. Now he can't shut me up.
Well,
Well, I don't say too much when he's on his show, because that's his show. But I'm just saying though, I watched how he treated other people, and he was always respectful. Even if he didn't want to answer a question, he would say respectfully, and then leave it at that. It kept it moving. He didn't get all mad and irate or anything like that. He just respectfully declined the question and moved on. So I respected that, because he treated people the way he would want to be treated if he was asking them a question that they didn't like. So that goes a long way with me, how you treat other people, because even in relationships, if before I got in a relationship, I was gonna be dating someone, like you said, even the food thing, going to a restaurant. Yeah, you're gonna treat me all nice and say all the right things, but if you're gonna be disrespectful to the wait staff because they messed up something, everybody human. Why it doesn't take all that? You know what I'm saying? And I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people in here. Raise your hand. You be going out there acting a fool, treating the wait staff bad.
don't
Go
do
ahead.
that. A lot of y'all don't do that White House.
Be nice to them people.
Yeah, but just adding to that, when we talk about the friendship slash relationship aspect of how it is when it comes to that, it's just more so of like, you don't have to be an a-hole to people to get your point across, right? You like genuinely talk to people how you want to be talked to. in the same sense, it's more so of like, hey, you know what I'm saying? I'm an adult. Treat me as an adult. You know, when it comes to the kids aspect, um, a lot of people just talk to their kids like any type of way. I'm not saying do anything differently from your parenting, but you got to understand where it is that it's coming from, as a parent towards your kids, and then how your kids receive that. And I give you an example. Your kids just waking up and they doing, they being kids. They don't do something to where it is that you want them to do at that moment. You shouldn't just immediately just yell at your kids early in the morning as soon as they wake up. You know what I'm saying? Because now, like, you're kind of allowing that behavior to say that it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Even though you don't mean it that way, but you got to understand, like kids at that age, like they're sponges, right? So they're going to hold that all the way up until teens, and then when their moms or when their dads, they're gonna kind of keep that behavior in a sense. I'm not saying they can't change, but just be cognizant of what it is that you're doing when it comes to how you talk and how you interact, especially when it comes to your kids, and then people that's outside that genuinely just have a positive effect or a positive outlook on how they want you to be in a sense.
I like what you said about that. I'll add on to that, especially the kids part. And this goes to not only the kids, but it also goes to relationships. Why would you want to send your kids out of the house first thing in the morning, all mentally messed up because you just yelled at them and screamed at them? And the same thing goes for your spouse or a friend. Why would you want to send them out of the house? You just had an argument, because there are a lot of wolves out there waiting for you to come out of the house broken down. Oh, he or she treated you like that. I can't believe that. And then your kids go to school, they get to acting up sometimes because they mentally messed up because mom or dad just beat them down before they got on the bus in the morning, dropped off at school. So I'm a firm believer in not sending people out of the house in a bad frame of mind, because that just leads to a lot of other problems that if they're not mentally ready for them, they can get in some trouble. They really could. What is what do you have an example, legendary of someone you've had to cut off because of that?
Because of the disrespectful
Because
aspect.
the values and not having great
You
values.
know, and like I don't want to say this in embarrassment. I want to say this as a lesson learned. Maybe someone can benefit from my situation. And again, this is gonna turn some eyes, but this is just me just being transparent. When it comes to the relationship with my mom, right? I mean, it's just there are just things that just happen as an adult that I came to, in a sense, to kind of, I don't want to say except for my mom, but the things that I noticed as an adult now that I know just shouldn't be happening. And because of that, there's a certain type of trauma that comes in to play with that, because society and everyone else tells you, you love your parents unconditionally, regardless, thick and thin, right or wrong, etc. And for some aspect of that, I understand that. But at the end of the day, when we're talking about holding ourselves to our own standard, listen, there's a difference with, respecting and loving your parents, right, unconditionally. And then there's a difference between right and wrong. And for me, an example that I would use, in my own life is myself and my mom. And it comes back to the church aspect. Again, I grew up in a church, a Christian home, and then just seeing how things kind of played out as an adult in church was kind of the biggest awakening for me. When we're talking about gossiping, when we're talking about what women and or men had on in the church house, when it comes to, oh, I seen so and so at the club the other day, or I seen so and so. And the crazy part about it is, as a kid and as a teen, you kind of feel like, okay, this is the norm. But as an adult, you realize, like, hey, this is not Christian life. And a lot of times that kind of conflicted with my relationship with my mom, and in that aspect. And then when I bring it up to her, at the time she was like, oh, well, I'm just in my ways, or hey, the Bible says this, and she's just so quick to just use that, inappropriately for her own benefit. And because of that, that's a reason why we I don't want to say backslid in a sense, but kind of backed up a little bit. And again, it's not me, trying to embarrass myself or it's just me being transparent. Now, sometimes it's for me. It's sometimes it's okay to just be selfless. Sometimes it's okay to put that type of feeling on the back burner, and you say, hey, you know what? Regardless of what happens, listen. I forgave you. I forgive you. I just want to move forward. But the problem is, if that consistently occurs, when would you say enough is enough? When would you say, hey, you know what? This is going against everything I believe. You know, I'm done. And then imagine that being your mom or your dad in that aspect. You know? So again, that golden rule, treat people how you want to be treated, right? You can only pretend for so long, and then when is enough enough?
Hey, bro, nobody never said you have to love them in person. You can love them from afar. I'll give you an example. For me, it was as an adult. While I was over stationed in the Philippines, we always had these parties. Food and stuff was cheap over there, so we had a lot of parties in the dorms and everything. And was one weekend we were gonna have a big barbecue. We invited everybody. It was like a 3 day weekend, and so they inviting people. So you're gonna invite this person, you're gonna invite that person. Oh yeah, yeah, I'm gonna invite them. But then I got to somebody that wasn't the same as me. They said, no, we're not inviting them. I was like, what happened? We played basketball with them. We work with them. We playing football with them. We even hang out with them sometimes. But now you're saying no. And for me, it was different. I'm from Mississippi originally. And if I mention Mississippi, you could think of a couple of things that I've seen to deal with us. And if anyone should be that way, it should be me. But I'm not though. My grandmother and my mother, they raised me not to be that way. And it was a fortunate thing for me. My grandmother worked for someone that didn't look like us, but it just taught me to treat people the way you want to be treated, no matter who they are, what their skin tone is. So anyway, we were supposed to have that barbecue over there, and we had already bought the food and everything. And that's when I had, I don't know if y'all know, but them big speakers that was about 5 feet tall. I had them big up sitting to my side. And I was gonna bring my speakers out, I was gonna be like Run DMC. But anyway, I said, you know what? Y'all go ahead and do y'all thing, man. I can't do it. Hey, what you mean you can't do it? I said, look, man, when are we gonna reach across and say, come on, somebody got to do it first. We work with them. We over here serving our country with them. Why we can't sit down and break bread with them? It didn't make any sense to me. So that just, and another thing that taught me about values and standing up for yourself. I'm not proud of this, but I'll tell y'all this. Playing basketball, we had a brother, our coach. He was an old school coach from the Vietnam era, and he said back then, which is crazy. You're gonna laugh when I say this. He didn't want any dunking in the game, so it was back in the day. Yeah, no dunking in the game. So anyway, we were at a tournament in Mobile, Alabama, probably about almost an hour away from where we live at. The dude, one of the best players on the team, he went up for a dunk last seconds of the game. He got hung. We lost the game.
Oh no, he ain't got no bunnies.
He had him, but I don't know what happened. He got hung. He got stuck. So getting hung means he tried to dunk, but he hit the rim and didn't dunk. For people that don't know,
the ball got stuck on the rim. So
yeah, and we lost the game. It was like seconds left in the game too, dog.
He just laid it off.
So you know what he did? He was old school. He said, I ain't gonna say his real name. I said, Jenkins, I done told y'all. Hey, you know who I'm talking, who he was. I done told y'all, and I done told y'all, ain't no dunking in these games. Now, son, you got to get your own ride home tonight. Hey, what? He said he did that. So luckily, our junior high coach was there. He gave him a ride home. Then we protested trying to get him back on the team. So we all were gonna protest, wasn't gonna play nothing. We went to practice, we all sat out. My mom, little shorty, she came, she said, I thought you said that you were gonna play. Cause I said I was gonna play at first. I said, man, I'm about to be starting all the time now instead of every now and then. So I backed out. I didn't follow my own instinct. But that taught me a lesson though, that I always have to do what's right for me, not for nobody else. I supported him, I was there for him, but I ruined my senior year because I was supporting him when he broke a rule. I didn't break the rule, but then I got punished because I tried to support him. Anyway, that taught me to stand up for the values that I believe in and not let my values get corrupted by the situation that's going on. Never compromise my values. So that was a valuable, hard lesson to learn because, man, I missed my senior year playing basketball because of that. So anyway.
But he got hung. That's tough.
You got hung. He got hung. He shouldn't have did it.
It's
He
tough.
should have laid that ball up, man. But yeah, for his bad decision though, a lot of us, probably about 4 or 5 of us, we were juniors, and they didn't let us. He didn't let us come back. He brought up the junior varsity team and played the rest of the year out. The next year they won the state championship. That's how good they got. So anyway, I missed out on the state championship.
That's tough. I'm
So
trying to take care of the home, man. Hmm.
yeah, you got anything else on that one though? You want
No,
to?
I think we hit that one. We hit that one.
Okay. So the next one is we're gonna be talking about expectations of online friendships and relationships.
Ooh, that's tough.
Yeah. You want to jump on it first? You want me to jump on?
Yeah. So, man, this is just gonna contradict a lot of stuff that I talk about when it comes to social media. But I'm telling you, even though we are on social media, we doing X, Y, we just trying to just be as genuine as possible, authentic, true to ourselves. I'm still a firm believer that social media is just not what it seems. It is so unrealistic. This is just me talking. I'm not speaking for anyone else. It's so unrealistic, and especially when it comes to the expectations, or especially when it comes to what other people perceive you to be when you post things, when you say things, or anything of that nature. At the same time, it's kind of disappointing to a sense, because just like I say all the time, like I genuinely feel like you lose the type of social butterfly that you would normally have when you was to interact, person to person, and then you kind of take that to social media, and a lot of people feel differently when it comes to how they would act, how they would talk to someone, because they're behind the screen, or because they're behind their phone, that they normally wouldn't say, or wouldn't have I say I wouldn't have the guts to say in person, if that makes sense. When it comes to social media, it's tough to keep people honest, to keep people relatable in a sense to how it is that you want them to be, or how you want your relationship to be, in that aspect. Social media to me is just a, I don't want to say it's just a fantasy, but it's just, it's hard to put that in words of how I feel. Go ahead. I'm gonna get my thoughts.
I can't. So for me, I have a little bit different take on it, but I respect. I respect that, of course. Um, I think social media now is just an extension of a relationships and dating and things like that, whether it's friendships or whether it's dating, because this is the new norm, across the board for the most part. You're not getting people going out in clubs overall. People still going out and stuff, but
Right.
this is the new way of meeting people. I just think though, for me though, to trust someone on here, it takes a lot, or they have to be very impressive to me enough for me to give them a chance to open up and trust them. So I can't say that I'm against it, because that's how I'm in a relationship now. We met on social media, but I can tell you this: we didn't exchange. Man, my thumbs, bro. My thumbs. I could stand on my thumbs, and I got so strong because we didn't exchange phone numbers for forever. It was all through DMing for about 2 or 3 months, man.
That's a lot of
And
fly.
that's just the way it was. So, man, one day I just said, you know what? My thumbs are tired. Can I get the number? But anyway, I think it's just a new form of doing it, and you have to be very careful in doing it. But I think it can work out though. But like I said from the very beginning, I believe in open, honest communication. That's one of the most important things I think. And when you get into a relationship, a friendship, or a relationship of online meeting people or dating people, you have to be open and honest, and the communication has to be on point. If you're lacking in the communication, then it's not going to work. And you have to be strong. I think you have to be strong-willed, and you have to be committed to it working if it's going to work. But there are also a lot of things, signs that we can't overlook in dating or being in friendships on social media.
Being naive in that aspect.
Yeah.
So genuinely from me, I'm naturally gonna trust anybody I meet. That's my personality. I'm from the South, so it's just ingrained in me. But with that being said, just like Big Bro said, it's just being naive to a point to where it's like, everyone who's on social media has your best interest at heart. When we both know, what I'm saying, that's just not the case. When it comes to that aspect, I just words I don't hold over action. And a lot of people that I've, became to learn on social media, a lot of people can just talk the talk, but when it comes to walking the walk, it just don't happen. And again, I'm only speaking for myself and my own interactions. I know there's people who had positive relationships, who had positive marriages from social media, etc. But for me, it's okay to meet, to talk. But once you get serious, listen, uh, slowly slide away from the social media aspect, and you get that authentic you and me, and we start talking, texting, video chatting, meeting up, and etc. Then that's where it comes. But for the main part of how I feel about it is just there's just so many fake things in my own thoughts that just supersedes all the positive stuff that I know social media can be. A lot of people just use that to their advantage, and then it's just what I've seen as far as from start of the social media era to where it is now. When we talk about start, I'm talking about early as the MySpace days. You know what I'm saying? When we all had MySpace, transition to Facebook, and then transition to what YouTube and TikTok is. It's just a lot of people, man. They just not what they seem.
Yeah, communication is number one, and then like you said, words are good. Words are nice. People can flatter you with words, but if your actions don't even come close to those words, it doesn't mean anything to me.
Right.
And I can't because I already have trust issues by the way I grew up and the things I saw. So naturally, I just don't trust people. So it takes a lot for me to trust people. But I think also being consistent, not only, and that goes along with the words you say and the things you say and do, is that you're consistent. You don't say one thing today and do a different thing tomorrow, and then that pattern continues because that just shows me right there that you can't be trusted. So I'm very big on, like I said before about the other topic, is watching people and watch how they move, and also not just about how they're dealing with me. It's more important to me how you deal with other people because you always gonna try to impress me. You're always gonna try to impress the person you're trying to get with or the person you're trying to be friends with or whatever. So I watch how you treat other people, and it goes. I do the same thing in everyday life also when I meet people. If I saw you, like for instance, being in the job, you see somebody being a butthole to somebody, then oh hey, how you doing, Mister Gates? I go da 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 da. Man, please, okay? I saw what you did yesterday. That was wrong. So I can't get with you. So consistency is very important to me when it comes to forming any type of relationship.
Okay. So let me ask this. Let's say that you've been talking to someone on social media, and I know this is case by case, but not to say that there's a time limit. But when do you feel like it's appropriate to meet up?
I think whatever the two
Or
people
like
think,
what?
whatever makes the two people comfortable. I think that's a decision that they make together. I don't think you should force it. I think, especially if you're a man towards a woman, that you have to realize that women meeting up with people put themselves in a vulnerable state where most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time we can handle that. But a woman can't handle it if it's reversed on her. So it's whatever the woman is comfortable with. And I wouldn't force it. Matter of fact, I'm okay with letting it go to where she may suggest it instead. You know what I'm saying? Versus me suggesting it because I don't want her to think that, sometimes, it's better to be that bull that's still on top of the hill than run down that hill real fast, if y'all know what I'm saying.
But no, absolutely. But again, there's always a cause and effect. But the problem in that aspect is a lot of women nowadays. I don't no disrespect by any means, but a lot of women nowadays, what I'm saying, they expect the man to quote unquote be the man. They expect you to be. I don't want to use aggressive, but be direct and to the point when it comes to that. And a lot of times that kind of get misconstrued because they kind of take it, oh, maybe he's not really that interested in me, or maybe he's not really this because why he haven't took me on a date yet, why he haven't did this, why he haven't did that. So sometimes it's starting to become like chess, even though I don't want to put that perception as a relationship, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. So for me, like I told you, I believe in from the very beginning, open, honest communication. So the subject may come out, but it won't be about us doing it. It'll be about what do you think about it, that type of thing. That's how I do it. So it's a natural thing. It's organic when we're doing it. So I can get a feel for what's going on. And then, of course, I can take the lead in, but I don't just jump in and say, let's meet up. You know what I'm saying? I just take my time and have conversations about different aspects of what's going on in the relationship. That's all.
Okay, this is my last one. Since
That's
we're on the
okay.
topic.
You all
Since we're
right?
on the topic. All right, so what if things just feel genuine, authentic from day one? Is there any reason for you to say, "Hey, let's slow down," or say, "Hey, let's keep it to the levels that we have to keep meeting," or is it just like naturally happen, just naturally letting it flow?
So let me ask a question then, and I'm gonna answer. Are you just talking about just talking, or are you talking about other things?
I'm talking about other things. I'm talking about all of it, the whole
Everything,
aspect.
everything.
Sexually too, all
Same,
of it.
same answer. Same answer. It depends on us have being adults about it and being realistic about it and having conversations about it. Now, I can say this: I'm in no hurry to jump into bed. If it happens, it happens. But I'm in no hurry to do that because I would much rather spend the time talking and getting to know the person, and then figuring out what we need to do. Because you can go out there and do that with anybody, right? I mean, that ain't
Yeah,
you don't
I
have to have
feel that
no.
all the time.
Yeah, you don't have to have no emotions for that. For men, man, men can see a hole in the wall if it look good, so they gonna do what they gotta do. And ain't no feelings behind that. So I just take my time, and I'm the man, right? But I also have to realize that there are a lot of traps out there for women. I let the woman help us dictate that conversation, and when we do all that,
Yeah, and a lot of times, man, it kind of get misconstrued in a sense to where it's like you genuine you just genuinely being you, but sometimes your love language in a sense take over, not like aggressive in that aspect, and then a lot of time you get the question like, okay, is it all just sex for you, right? And like the response that I have for that is without being cocky, this is me just being trans. Like sex is you can get sex anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like not to be conceited by any means, but that's the easy part. Having sex with somebody, that's the easy part. It's definitely more to that. When you finally get somebody that you vibe with, you finally, everything's natural and it just flows. Like it just everything just feels different. And then when you have that build up and it comes to, the sexual desires that you have for that person, it's like 10 times or 12 times, 100 times more powerful than it would be when it's just a regular person like, oh, you know what, I wouldn't mind hitting that.
and
You know?
legendary. I firmly believe that doesn't have to be 6 months. That can be a month if you feeling somebody. If y'all both feeling it and y'all have conversation. So it's no time limit on it. It's just what the two people organically do for themselves. And that's what I believe.
Okay. Yeah, I got that.
Another thing for me is being responsive. Being responsive in that type, whether it's a friendship or relationship. And then realizing that just because you send me a text right now, a DM right now, like tonight, I went out. I met an old friend of mine, an Air Force friend of mine. He had been trying to get me to come out to the bowling alley for almost about a year now, to be honest with you. So tonight I went and I put my phone down because we were talking. So just because I don't respond to you within 2 hours or 3 hours or whatever, it means nothing. If it's a problem, we should be talking about that. It should not be
Right.
an automatic reaction when I find, hey, what's up? Oh, you finally reached out to me now. That's gonna turn me off quicker than a heartbeat, man. Oh my goodness. Because
That
you know what I'm saying? Because people want instant gratification now. I'm not about instant gratification unless it's a needed thing to happen. But sometimes you're not gonna get me. And if I tell you that I'm busy doing something, I'm busy doing something. Especially now, all right. Now y'all know right now, y'all know what I'm about to say. If I'm golfing
on God.
and it's like the first hour into me golfing, when I go golfing, I have my phone with me. I put my phone on silent and put it in my golf bag. I don't look at it again until I finish golfing. And golfing takes at least 4.5, 5 hours minimum. So if somebody has an issue with that, I don't know what they're gonna do for themselves, and I don't have time for that. That's my woosah away from life. You know what I'm saying? And I make sure people understand that up front. I tell everybody, anybody I met, look, I love golfing. I'm gonna golf 4 or 5 times a week sometimes. The only caveat to that is that nothing. Golf would never come before anything in my relationship. Though. Let me say it like that. But if it's just a normal everyday thing, Now you about to get fired. But that's something we're gonna talk about though, because it has to be a conversation to have because that's my woosah away from dealing with this life that we go through every day. That's how I get away from things and be able to just be myself when I come back. But nothing would golf would never come before anything that we plan, anything that is for the relationship. It's not that serious. I just love doing it.
My take on it is very similar. It's more so of like I just feel like when it comes to that, obviously we talk about communication, but on the flip side of that, I just feel like some people just selfish as hell in that aspect, right? Without sounding like a moron or without sounding conceited in that aspect too. It's just there's a lot of people who just feel like you just supposed to be talking 24/7 every minute of the day. And then again, this is what I mean when I talk about unrealistic expectations. When we talk about communication, right? We understand like, hey, maybe you got this going on, you got this going on, you got this going on. The problem is, what if, and I'm not talking about me, just so y'all tracking that. I'm not talking about me, but because of how we can relate to this, what if you're in the military and there's times where you know what's supposed to happen, but in the military, there's a lot of times to where you have to adjust because things come up on the fly. And for whatever reason, a lot of people don't understand that and or they think that we're using that to our advantage. Does or do soldiers use it to their advantages? Of course they do. But when someone's being genuine and someone's telling you like, hey, I got this going on, things might change, like for the most part, like believe them until they show you otherwise or until it seems like, okay, you know, if you're not into me, just say that. But a lot of times I've realized that a lot of people are selfish in that aspect. It's like, what do you think we do all day? Or what do you think we just wait and just look at our phones and just like, you know, just like, oh, come on, come text me, come text me. We're going to respond immediately. Like, this is the type of unrealistic expectations that I'm talking about. And I get it. A lot of people say, like, you know, if you into that person or if you like that person, things will be different or you show them different. Yeah, I understand that wholeheartedly. But you do have to understand we're adults. We have jobs. We got this going on. We got this. Again, I'm not making excuses for anyone in a relationship. I'm just being honest.
Yeah. So I think it has to be an understanding all the way around. Because if you, especially if it's a long distance relationship,
Oh, Lord.
you have to be conscious of it has to be a little bit more communication going on than it would be in person. Because, you know, for me, like I trust thing. What if I'm an insecure person and then I know I need some of that? I don't need it. I don't need to be babied, but I just need to be reassured that, you know, we have something. Because if not, then what are we really doing? You know what I'm saying? Because it's tougher in a long distance relationship than it is in person, I think. That's just my opinion. But I think you have to go the extra mile to make sure that that you're communicating enough for the relationship. I'm not saying that you have to, when I text you, you have to be there waiting on me 24/7. I'm saying that we have to be conscious of that. Our time is very, very limited sometimes if we have jobs and we're doing other things. So when we do have time to communicate, we need to try to spend that time. And then I think, like what you said earlier too, is FaceTime. I think that's another thing that can help out with it as well. Something that somebody says it's not for them. Something that we've incorporated really is we do movie time every week. Now I gotta admit, I'm gonna be put it out there. This past week, brother was a little tired. I went to sleep during the movie.
And that's
Hey,
funny you said that, but
but
continue.
that's a normal thing, right? That happens in person, you know. So, but we do movie time once a week though, you know. So that's what's up.
While we on this subject, let's flip that around.
All right.
Is there, and I know this is gonna sound a little, is there an option to where it's too much communication, or for us, is it too much communication to where it's not sustainable? How you feel about that?
Is it too much? I don't. Okay. In a general sense, I don't think there's ever too much communication
Mhm.
because I think it's whatever is best for the relationship. But I can see how how you can be on two different levels, right? Some people may need more than others, but I think, as I said before, and I'll say it until the cows come home, as they say down south, it's a conversation to be had, you know, because if I'm being crowded, I say, look, I need a little space because I know you need this. I'm here for you, but you need to say that. You need to be upfront about that and make sure that your partner understand that. So I don't ever think it's too much, but I think if it is for the person, they need to say that and come to the understanding about how they're gonna do that though.
Okay, I got you,
What about you?
man. It's tough. It's just it's tough because it just I think it really goes off of how you feeling someone or how you're moving when it comes to the natural aspect of a relationship. Because in previous, etc., previous activities, like there's a lot of there's a lot of times where it's like, listen, for the I'm never a person to just stay on the phone. I'm never a person to just I feel like it's such an inconvenience, and I know that's probably selfish on that aspect. But if it all came down to it, I would rather text than do anything else because I can freely move around and do it, etc. And I get it. I can see how that can be selfish in the aspect. But on the flip side of that is I always took it as an inconvenience. I always took it like, listen, I don't mind talking, but bro, I got stuff to do. Like I can't just be here just holding the phone all day, all night, doing all this, etc. And it's from person to person because I realize like, if we talk about my kids, I can talk to them little greedy people all day. Even though they get on my nerve, I can talk to them all day. When it comes to just for an example, when it comes to family, hey, you got about a good 30 seconds. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that to be rude. I'm not saying that I don't love my family.
Not 30 seconds.
Y'all just gotta understand, like it's okay to, because see, here it is. My family know that I'm not talking about my kids. I'm talking about like mom, sisters. But even if I don't talk to them, they know as soon as we talk, it's like we never stopped. You know what I'm saying? Like we have that type of relationship. So when I say that out loud, I know what it seems like. But we have that kind of like, pick it right up like we ain't never left. But there are just some family members that you're like, all right, lift you up with that. I love you too. You know what I'm saying? And then there's this person that just comes in your life that's just unexpected, and it's like, dang, I want to talk to this person more. Like you can't get enough of it, which is why I asked the question to you. Is there a such thing of like when you get to that point to where like you just want to talk to them, they're all you think about is just clouds and skittles and roses and unicorns and all this stuff? And it's like, do you feel like when you get to that point, it's too much communication, not sustainable? That's what I really meant when it comes to that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now, I think initially it is very, very new. It's very refreshing. You enjoying it and you getting to know people. But I think it also hits a pattern where you level out, and you become normal. Where you ain't staying up to 2 or 3 in the morning no more. You just staying up like 10:30, 11 o'clock now. So yeah, that's all over with. But because you can't. That's not sustainable, to be honest with you. It's not. You can't do that every day in and day out. Stay up 2 or 3 in the morning, get up going to work because I only get maybe 4 hours of sleep, 5 hours of sleep a night anyway. So I had to, things change a little bit, but that's the way it is. But it's still good though. I was going to ask, and you don't have to answer this because I know sometimes both of us, some things we won't answer. Are you against long distance relationships?
Nah, being in the military, like you kind of have to accept it. Just because of the foundation and what we in. We know we're going to deploy. We know we're going to go to the field. We know we're going to do some type of training. We know we're going to do rotations. Like if you don't see yourself in a long distance relationship for listen, and this is just me coming from experience, you're gonna be single for a long time. That's just what you have to accept going into the military. On the flip side of that, your partner has to be on the same page with that as well, because even though a lot of people say, oh, if my spouse, my significant other deployed, I'm gonna be okay, until it happens. When you don't hear from them for a month because they out in the middle of nowhere and they, sleeping X, Y, and Z and they doing this, they doing that, and it's hard. And then there's going to be some trials and tribulations that come in to where it's like you allow small things to seep in. It's like, you know what, he or she haven't called me for a week. What are they doing? And then you just start building on that, and then that's where that self-sabotage start coming from. But again, it's just from my own perspective. With me being in the military, like you kind of have to be okay with being in a long distance relationship, or you're going to just be by yourself for a long time.
Right. All right. So let's switch gears a little bit. So talking about online friendships and relationships, is there such a thing as too much personal information, or where you draw the line when it comes to personal information when you're just meeting someone?
Yeah, I mean, I try to be as authentic as possible, but a lot of things for me is I don't out in public. I don't like telling people my relationship status. Right? A lot of people have their own perception about. If people think I'm married, I'm divorced, I'm talking to multiple women, I'm doing this, I don't give a damn. You can think whatever you want to think. It don't matter to me. But it's more so to preserve what I have or what I would have in the future. That's just how I look at things. On the flip side of that, you can say, okay, well, you're hiding this, or you don't want people to know what you do. And I understand that. I'm not trying to convince you to come into my world. At the same time, I just know from my own experiences that not everything belongs on social media. When it comes to my kids, right? I'm not ashamed to tell you my kids or how many kids I have and etc. But at the same time, I'm a parent. You know, my number one priority when it comes to that is the protection of my kids. I understand that social media is not a place to where you can just let everything out and then just hope for the best in that aspect. Because there are people who have bad intentions when it comes to you, when it comes to your kids, when it comes to anything that they see positive that you have going on. With that being said, it's not for me. It's not a point to where it's like I'm hiding or anything. It's just more so I'm protecting what I have or what I would have in the future.
Yeah, I think I 100% agree with you, Legendary, is that you have a responsibility, and some things are not meant for social media, especially when they come to your kids, because we already know that this is an open source, and people out there just taking notes and taking little bits. So being in the military, you and I already both every situation we go into, we weighing that risk, we weighing what's going on, we're watching people and things like that. So we know the people out there taking little notes. And I tell people all the time, I can just listen to the person like for a week at a time, and I can find out a lot about them by not even saying a word to them, because they're going to give you little bits and pieces. And then before you know it, you know where they stay at, you know where they work at, you know what kind of job they have and everything, because they think they just skirting around the issue. They can talk around it, and they really can't though. So you have to protect your loved ones, and you also have to protect yourself, because people don't mean us no good sometimes. So you have to be conscious of that. So I wholeheartedly agree with that.
To add on to that, that's why a lot of times when people ask me questions, right, and I feel like I don't want to say too personal, but I feel like it's too personal. I only say that because I know people will use that to their advantage, and then for whatever reason they not being genuine, they just hear what I like, right? They know what I like, so they portray that. I don't want that. You know what I mean? I want you to authentically be you. I want you to like me for me. I want you to understand where I'm coming from. I want you to pray for me. I want you to do all that for me, not because of what you hearing my aspect of or what I like and dislike on social media. And you're like, okay, I'm gonna write that down, and then I'm gonna apply that. You know what I mean? Because then you it's kind of a cheat code. Because if you got all the answers to the test, are you really learning? Are you really willing to put in the work? That means that you're not going to study. That means that you're not going to apply yourself. You already got all the answers.
That was one thing I really respected about you when I first started coming into your room, is that you really did. You took every effort to make sure that you could be as open, but also guarded as possible. Because you're right. If someone has all the answers to the test, you don't know if you're getting a genuine person or not. So I respect that a lot. So people that don't understand what he's saying that in order to get to know him, you don't get the open book test. You got to come. You got to go to class. You got to study. It's a whole 16 weeks. It's not an 8-week course. It's a 16-week course. And you got to do your homework. You got to go to class. You can't just come to school because somebody done gave you a backpack with the answers in them.
Absolutely, though. But yeah, and because of that, and I know what type of damage social media can cause, and I say that because I've seen it. I've seen couples put their whole life on social media, and then as soon as they go through one stumbling block, one trial and tribulation, because you allow the whole world in, now they can judge everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
But I genuinely feels like that needs to be between you and her, or her and him. Like that needs to be together, something that you face together, not allowing any type of outside influence to dictate what you will and what not do in a relationship.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Anything else? I got a couple of things I wrote down here for it. Respect for boundaries, in relationships, and a couple of things I put up there was respecting time, personal information, and emotional boundaries as well. Because a lot of times we want to hold out. So go ahead.
I apologize. When it comes to boundaries, let me tell you how I am. I respect all boundaries. Now, there's a difference with me saying I respect all boundaries and then me saying, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna respect them until you do away with them. For me personally, I grew up in the military to where it's like, hey, once someone says no, you stop. So for an example, if I was in the military and I was talking, I saw this girl and I thought she was just, she just she looked good. And I went and I shot my shot and she tells me no, I'm gonna stop right then and there. That's it. There's no more discussion. And a lot of people kind of equate that to like, oh, that's it. You just stopped right there. Like you could have kept going. I just wanted to see how bad. Listen, I don't play those goddamn reindeer games. They get people in trouble. When people say no, that's it. That's no. When it comes to and our, and for us, when it comes to a woman having those type of boundaries or having those type of quote unquote standards, I'm gonna appreciate that. I don't want to be the reason that you fail whatever it is that you're going through. I want you to allow those to come down because you want them to, not because I want them to. If that makes sense.
Right? It does. It makes a lot of sense.
So when it comes to the boundaries, I'm going to respect your boundaries as long as you want me to and etc. If you don't want to fail, I'm not going to allow you to fail. I promise you I'm not. I'm going to respect those boundaries because I know had those been reversed and I had those type of boundaries, I would want you to respect them. If you kept knocking at it or you kept, being too aggressive in that aspect, for me, that's a huge turnoff. I'm not aggressive by any means. Yeah. You know what I mean? I know for a fact that I'm a love at heart. So when it comes to that, I'm gonna respect any and all boundaries. I'm not the one to keep pushing. Now, that don't mean that I don't want, what I'm saying, at the end. It's just until you tell me otherwise, I'm gonna respect that.
Tell you or give you an indication because, like you said, a lot of times some women or men take that as you're not wanting them or something like that. But I think you're saying exactly what you're meaning is that you're gonna play it organically. It's not. So I get that. Let me give you a short story. So the job. I work in communicable diseases, right?
Right.
And I did interviews for people came in with communicable diseases.
Uh-oh.
I was talking to this guy one time. He came in. He had been with someone. He had met them. How back in the day, you papa, hey, what up, on the street, right? Met somebody on the street. He told me this in the interview. Now, this is what he told me. He said, met in the street, and the girl said, no. They ended up doing it anyway. He kept on persisting. The next day, he had to come see us. The next day.
Yeah.
So she knew. She tried to tell him, but he was persistent. So he said, you know what? He said that broke me off from no means no. So not only did let me tell you what happened to him. Not only did he get a shot for that, he found out that he was allergic to the medication they gave him. He had to go back and get some more shots.
Oh no.
Facts. Anyway, no means no.
Listen, and then ladies, listen. This is just from a man's perspective. Mean what you say. All right. Don't play games with people. I'm not saying that y'all are doing that, but if you say, oh, you're not interested in a dude walk away, that's it. It shouldn't be, oh, that's it. You're not gonna keep pursuing. You really didn't want, like, don't play those type of games, okay? Because I'm telling you, when it comes to a man, you gotta understand how women perceive men that they don't know anyway. So, for an example, if I was to see you in the street and I went and walk up and talk to you, your first thing would be defensive, like, ew, why are you coming up to and talking to me? Or, ooh, why are you doing it? You know what I'm saying? You automatically have in the back of your mind that, I could possibly be a threat. If I'm, trying to get to know you and you tell me no, that's it. But listen, there's no continuation from there. As soon as you say no, all right, you have a blessed day and that's it. So listen, I would advise you not to do that if you're doing that.
You know what I like? I like what you say all the time. And so when people are playing games when it comes to the act, because if they already have, like, say for instance, they have like 2 kids or they've been already out there, what's the purpose if you feel somebody? What's the purpose of you say that a lot, What's the purpose of if you feeling it? What's the purpose of holding out? What you holding out for? Because you ain't wearing no white dress if you get married.
Like if you've already done it, and I say this all the time for the women who says like, I'm gonna hold myself till marriage, or I'm gonna hold myself until X, Y, and Z. And I understand that if you're doing it for a personal growth level for you, I understand that. But if you're doing it just to, just to do it, meaning there's no backing it behind it.
A
Meaning like,
test.
yeah, meaning like you didn't make this promise to God, you didn't make this promise to yourself to do better. If you're doing it just to test somebody out, that's the type of games that I don't understand. Don't play those games. Because now, in a sense, you're making me, not me per se, but you're making me suffer for past relationships or things that happened in your past. So now I'm affected by it. Because now you're not giving me a proper chance. Because you're like, oh, you just like any other guy. I'm going to make him do X, Y, and Z. And those little games is what I'm saying. Don't play with people.
I agree 100%. Is there anything else you want to talk about on that one, or do you think we've exhausted it?
Unless the chat got questions on that aspect, I'm good with that too.
If y'all don't have any question about the two topics, or if you do have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. We answer any questions y'all want to answer right now. We've been through them. We want to know y'all's take on it also. What do you guys? What do you ladies and men have questions about?
You say interesting.
What's interesting? The whole thing about holding out.
You hold out to get to know someone. I mean, that's not really. I mean, I can see how that would play, but my thing is when it's natural and then you force a holdout. That's what I don't agree with. You know what I'm saying? When things naturally happen, when they naturally occur, it don't feel forced, none of that. Okay, I can see. You know what I'm saying? But when you putting stops or you putting barriers up yourself for your own specific reasons, then that's where things change for people.
So, Coach Jolly, we talked about what values are non-negotiable for you in relationships and friendships, and we also talked about expectations of online friendships and relationships. But you can ask anything you want to ask at this time. We just try to limit the questions to what we're talking about while we're talking about them. But right now, the floor is open. We open it up for a little while to answer any questions y'all may have about anything. Let me see. With anything that we want to answer. Yeah. Yeah, just because we say that don't mean we answer everything, though. Especially, if you hear respectfully, that means we're not answering that.
My, 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 my. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can't believe they don't have no. I know we didn't answer everybody's questions with what we talked about.
No, they typing.
Oh, they typing? Okay. Hey, I got something coming to you too this weekend. That's why I need the size. Because did you see that Eyes had on her army shirt today?
I saw that. I got hold on now.
I'm sending you an Air Force shirt.
I ain't mad at you. Oh, I ain't mad at you. Hey, hopefully your package come in too. You know what I'm saying?
What? All right. First question. It says, how soon is too soon to introduce kids to a new partner? That's from Coach Jolly V.
Man, it's the same thing as the natural flow of things. And just like Big Bro said, that's going to be from person to person. When someone makes you feel comfortable, someone allows you to authentically be yourself, someone makes you feel like they can trust you and etc. Here's my biggest thing. This is me personally. I don't like time limits. I don't put time on anything because for me, that just goes away from a natural movement. When it comes to that aspect, I genuinely feel like if the time is right now, then hey, it's right now. My thing about it is, if you try to say, hey, I'm not going to allow you to meet my kids until this specific day or this specific month or this, like, what happens when you meet them and then all of a sudden you went through all this time, they meet, and for whatever reason, it's a bad encounter. Then how are you going to take that? So there's pros and cons to you, obviously meeting right then and there, and or you waiting, because regardless of what happens, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like if you wait right now, or if you allow them to see each other right now, like it's going to happen.
Yeah. For me, it's a little different. I do agree that it should be a natural flow of things, but for me, because of what Mom went through, we went through from I was about age 9 to about 13, where she met guys, and two of the guys, they always said that They tell me I'm 9, 10 years old, 12 years old, whatever. I really like you. I want to be like a father to you. I'm gonna be here for you and all that. They only did that to get to mom. So for me, when I meet someone, if they have kids, I tell them right up front. I say, look, I do not want to meet your kids unless we get serious. I don't want to meet if we just casually dating and none of that stuff because it's not fair to the kids because of what I went through. I really bought into that at 9, 10 years old. I didn't have it. I was eating that up, and then all of a sudden I'll point at, double barrel at me and stuff and talking about
No, that
punching
is
holes through me and all that, come on. So I just learned that it's best not to involve kids until you know that you're serious. Now, is there a guarantee? No. But at least you put some kind of barrier in there to protect the kids from unnecessary trauma and harm.
I'm gonna add on to that, but again, I'm a flip it just a little bit. I think there's a different mentality when it comes to meeting kids in the space to where you at that current moment. So, for an example, let's just say that we're getting to know each other, but we're still friends. And for whatever reason, we go to the park and the kids come and you introduce them like, hey, this is Mr. So and so. You know what I'm saying? With the intent of like, hey, we're friends right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's different. I feel like, you know what I'm saying? Once you cross the line and say, hey, we in a relationship, we're getting serious. Now I want you to meet my kids on this level.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. So
Yeah,
I guess this is why I say the natural flow of things, because I don't mind allowing my kids to meet somebody that I say that I'm friends with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they're friends. Even if I know we're trying to get to that point, if we're still friends, I have, you know what I'm saying? I have a problem. I don't have a problem at all. When we cross over to the relationship aspect, you're like, hey, this is getting serious. Now it's time for me to officially introduce you X, Y, and Z and sit the kids down. And even if you have your kids and, all the kids will come together like, hey, we're talking about taking the next step. We're talking about this. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I kind of, that's my mentality when it comes to that.
If that was me, I've been sitting there like this. I don't. Hey, that ain't my daddy. Hey, we got a question from Johnny. It's about 17 behind. It says, with you all being military men, are you ever labeled with being controlling in relationships?
I don't think the job has anything to do with that. It's you. You know? In the military, they teach you basic standards and disciplines. Once you become a leader, then you have to go off what you've learned, that what your experiences was, etc. And sometimes some people take that as you being an asshole, but not knowing that it's coming from a place of, hey, I want to keep you safe. I want you to come home. I want you to do this. So I have to be an asshole in that aspect. When it comes to, people having that perception with military men, that's just the perception that they have. That don't mean it's true. For me, even though I'm in the military, I promise you, if you was to ever meet me in person, if you was to ever be in a relationship with me, they'll all tell you the same thing. I'm not an asshole. I'm not controlling. Everything that I do it for the benefit of us. I want you to consistently choose me. I'm not just saying that. I would never force or make you do anything you don't want to do. And a lot of times, like I say this all the time, a lot of people take that as me being nonchalant. A lot of people take that as me, you know what I'm saying like, oh, I don't really care. It's just kind of whatever happens. And it's not that. It's more so I want you to choose me because you want me. Like on a consistent basis. I'm not controlling by any means. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, I believe wholeheartedly in open and honest and trusting. I think it's nothing better in a relationship when two people can trust one another and they can move in a relationship as they see fit. I just ask that we always respect each other and respect boundaries. One thing I've said a lot is that I truly believe in letting my partner deal with, like if people shooting at them or whatever, I let them deal with that until I think enough is enough. And then I may say something. But I don't believe in stepping in every time because I have to know that person is going to do it for themselves versus me having to do it all the time. So I don't try to control that at all because I don't believe in it. And I'll do the same thing. If I see somebody, saying some things they shouldn't be saying, it's up to me to fix that, not let that person do that. But if I'm slipping, like I was told in a previous relationship that because I'd be so nice, I don't often see the signs of someone trying to come on to me now, because I don't. Unlike Legendary, I'm from the true South, but I'm just joking. But seriously though, we're just genuinely laid back, nice people that, like he's always says, I speak to everybody. I don't meet strangers. none of that stuff. But I had to take a step back and think about what was being said to me though, is that if that person is uncomfortable, I need to be more conscious of how I'm getting around and people that I'm meeting. Because I was missing. I wasn't paying attention to that because I wasn't thinking nothing about it because I knew what I had, I was focused on that. But at the same time, I'm responsible for part of that interaction going on. So I had to be more conscious of that. And I am more conscious now, especially being on here and things like that. You have to be conscious of it because people come at you all the time. So let's see. Another question. What people are not ready for is having all of that person, good, bad, and other. I think it was just a statement. Sorry. Adulting in its finest.
The biggest.
I don't not true. Not the true South. Yeah, the true South. He's from the South also. I just give him a hard time about it.
From Texas, for those of you who don't know.
Lori say, y'all know you can't go deeper south than where I'm from. If you're talking about like Miami or something like that, that's not the South. That's like the East Coast.
She in the booth. They always talk about Louisiana.
Oh, Louisiana? Well, I can. I'm from Mississippi. I'm from down on the Gulf of Mexico too.
Hey, how you spell Mississippi?
M-I, cricket letter, I, cricket letter, I, hump back, I.
Okay. All right. As soon as in my SSIS, I'm like, bro, chill out. Chill.
Any other questions? Because we know it's Friday night, and we know some of y'all just got paid. It's Friday night.
It's Saturday for me, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Where we are. Where she said where we are, I guess it's the only true South in Louisiana. Well, Louisiana, yes, but I'm from the Gulf. I was going to dip my foot in the Gulf of Mexico on a regular basis. Anyway,
I like to go too. So,
are you really? Beaumont close to the water?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm from.
Beaumont's on the borderline of Texas and Louisiana.
But it's down by the water though.
Yeah.
So do you go through Beaumont, going from like San Antonio, going to Louisiana?
It's southeast.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Right at the bottom.
Any other questions before we know it's Friday night. We don't want to hold y'all too long. We really appreciate you all stopping through on a Friday night. Make sure you go subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're going to be moving to YouTube pretty soon, so we can really get loose. We already got enough followers over there, but we need more people to continue to subscribe and share it out. And share it out with people. Let them know we're going to be moving over there. And if it's something that you all want to talk about that we're not talking about, we have a whole list of topics. But if it's something you want to talk about, send it to us. Send it to us, and we'll try to fit it in somewhere. We're not going to guarantee it'll be next week or the week after, but we'll get it in, though, because this is ours. When we say it's me, Legendary, and the producers, they don't want us to always say their name, the producers in the background, but it's all of ours, though. You all are part of the family. We like sharing this with you all. So we want to talk about some things y'all are interested in as well, but we'll get to it when we get to it, though. You have to just understand.
I have one question. I have what I'm thinking about. Since we on the relationship aspect,
Go ahead.
when it comes to you getting to know someone, and then you saying you kind of transition into like, all right, let's make this a title, etc. Or maybe you're not doing that. But you just kind of just know it's moving on. When would you feel comfortable giving someone something? I'm not just talking about money, even though that's what's personal. But when do you feel comfortable giving someone something if they ask for it? Or does the value of that change from money or to a car or to going shopping, etc.?
I would say once we decide that we're going to give it a serious go at being in a relationship, that's the time then. Because if we've committed to really truly being in a deep relationship, because I'm not committed to any surface things. I don't have time for that. So if it's like that, we just casual. Then we're not in a relationship. We're just in a friendship, what they call a situationship. But if we're in a serious relationship where we're committed to one another, then I think it's time for me to consider that then, because that's just both of us. As long as it's a mutual thing, I don't have a problem with that. Whenever we think that's the right time. So it's like you said, it's no time limit on it. It's just whenever we both feel like we're ready to go there. If we're not, we're not, but we have to be adults about it and always say that up front, though. We can't assume that. And you can't get mad at me if we haven't talked about it, about how we would do things like that, do when it comes to something like that. You can't be mad if we haven't talked about it. So it's no set time for me.
Gotcha. Would that, how, in your own opinion, would that impact if the other person who's on the receiving end kind of just says, "No, I don't feel comfortable doing that right now."
And they want something from me.
Yeah.
Nah,
No.
like I said, it has to be a mutual thing. It can't, you know, it's sort of like I hear these. You listen to these things all the time on here where women say, "I want a six-figure man," but they living on a, I'm not belittling anybody. I'm just trying to give an example. 50, they living on half that,
Right.
but they want a six-figure man, but they're not giving six-figure vibes. They're not giving six-figure commitment. So I think they go hand in hand. And I'm not saying you have to be making that kind of money to be a six-figure person. I'm saying though you have to. This is what I've learned, legendary, when it comes to right now at my age. I don't have a lot of. I don't, I hope I have a whole lot of years around the sun. Don't get me wrong, but I don't have time to play the games I played when I was in my 20s though.
Right.
So anytime I get into a relationship, I'm gonna be serious about it. And if that person's not ready for that, we're gonna talk about it up front to let them know that I'm not trying to play games. I don't have time for that. I just want to have somebody in my life that I can share life with and enjoy life. I don't have time to play those games that I played in my 20s. So it'll be a conversation we'll have up front though. But it can't be one way though. It has to be. We said last week. I think we talked last week or the week before last. A relationship is not 50-50. A relationship is 100-100.
Right.
So it can't be 50 from one and 100 from the other. It's 100-100.
Right. Wholeheartedly believe that since day one. It
Yeah.
just is.
I got a question from a sweetie. Do you think a man that interviews multiple women, first of all, I don't believe in interviewing, is serious about a relationship? No.
I mean, a man gonna be serious when he's ready to be serious. Ain't
Yes.
nowhere, you know. If he's doing all that, he's just trying to see what his options is. I ain't gonna lie to you.
It's options. Yep. And then he's probably trying to hit more than one of them. Just facts. When you're ready to be, like you said, when you're ready to be serious, you're ready to be serious. And you don't have to move. You don't have to interview multiple people at the same time, though, to do that. I don't believe that anyway. That's just me. Now, if you're just out there and you're upfront with the people you're talking to, I don't know if it's interviewing, but if I'm talking to several different women, hey, look, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for a serious relationship right now. I'm just weighing my options. That needs to be said. Now, I'm not saying a lot of people are mature enough to say that, but it needs to be said though, because you need to let that woman know, because that woman may be serious about it, and you're out here interviewing multiple people though, not you, other people on the outside of this.
And then me, when it comes to like me remembering stuff like that, I'm horrible. Listen, I'm not perfect. You know what I'm saying? I have downfalls, and my memory just is just woo. It's tough. So there's no way you just gonna just be learning multiple. It's just how I think. There's no way you're gonna be just be learning multiple people on a genuine level. If you're doing that, is you know, if you kind of you're trying to get to a goal, and that goal is definitely sexual. Just so y'all know.
Yes, sir. Trying to what you say? Seen that song "In Between the Sheets"? Somebody, Nat said, "Do you take notes during that interview?" Awkward. Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah, he just said that. Anything else? This is your time right now to ask the questions you want to ask us.
Are we beating up after this or no?
Yeah, yeah. For a couple of minutes. I know you got to go eat, so
I'm good now.
you good?
I'm good now.
Okay, cool.
It's
Well,
11:18 a.m. So
yes, sir. So if there are no more questions, if y'all don't have anything else for us, we're gonna go ahead and start signing off here. Like I said earlier, Legendary has the best sign off, so I'm gonna let him do the last sign off. But we
hey,
thank you all for coming in, sharing, and giving the gifts, liking the live, and also we really appreciate you if you haven't already done so, that you've gone and subscribed to our YouTube page. We look forward to interacting with you all the time. We look forward to bringing content to you that is valuable. So if you have something that you think you want to share with us or you want us to talk about, just let us know. Like I said, we really appreciate you taking your time, especially on a Friday night, to come in. Right now, I don't know, for some of you that don't know, for between Legendary and us, a 14-hour difference between our time zones. So that's why we try to pick times. Sometimes we may even go in the morning sometimes, because sometimes his is normally in the mornings because he goes on at night, and I normally go on at night here because I'm in the States. So anyway, we just be looking for the advertisement, and when you see them out there, go and sign up for them. But I'm telling you, we are already at 50 now. So we're looking to move over to, we hadn't set the exact date yet. As soon as we set that date, you all will know about that date. But we're going to be moving to YouTube, going live over there because we have a lot more freedom, a lot more ways we can interact with you all to get our points across. You know, not that we can't do it here, but we want to use that flat platform because that's where it's going, right? So anyway, that's all I have to say, Legendary. Appreciate you, bro. Your turn.
Hey, last but not least, just like he said, just to double tap, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel, please. We appreciate y'all for consistently showing up and showing out, you know. And just want you to know, listen, it won't stop, can't stop. Hey, we still gonna be here, right? Yeah, y'all gonna be great. I know it's Friday night for y'all, so if you're gonna go out, hey, go be safe, you know. Just be careful. Go have fun. You deserve it. Take care of yourself. And last but not least, be the reason someone smiles today. Y'all be safe.
Y'all take care.